So ever since we started Django, we've literally just been pretty much creating just basic CRUD app, create, read, update, delete, without any actual user login. I mean, we created a super user via the admin or like from the terminal, but we haven't actually created a user from the basic, like a basic Django app. It's always just been via the Django admin panel. So with that, today we're just gonna create a simple login, log out, sign up page in Django. And just like a lot of things in Django, the developers who created Django felt that a lot of the authentication should be kind of standardized. And so a lot of Django takes care of it for you. So we'll just go ahead and kind of show you what that looks like. We'll implement something or introduce something known as class-based views, class-based views. And once we get to that, we'll kind of show you what it looks like normally, like how we have been creating views, just using a basic method, but we'll also translate that into what a class-based view, what that looks like as well. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and create a basic Django project called my project, Django admin start project, my project. So I'm in this Lima challenges, just Django authentication, and let's start a Django project. All right, we have a my project up here. The next thing we should probably do is let's cd into my project. All right, we have our manage.py. All right, so the next step is to create a virtual environment. What is it? Python-m -v, slowly creating that virtual environment. It's kind of looking here. There it is, list. And now we need to enter that virtual environment. All right, clear. So we've entered the virtual environment. So let's pip install Django. We're just going to use the built-in SQLite database just for all intents and purposes, just to keep things going. All right, so clear. So let's just kind of examine the Django project settings file again. So this is all standard crap. Let's get this boilerplate. So with that, in our installed apps, we have this Django contrib admin. This is related to the admin panel that we saw yesterday. And there's also this Django contrib auth, which handles a lot of the authentication that is required in Django. So it takes a lot of the heavy lifting off of our shoulders and just has a built-in library or file called auth that just handles a lot of the authentication for us. So with that, we're not creating any models at this point. We're just going to be using the built-in kind of user model, and all those scripts are already, or all those migration scripts are already created for us. So all we really need to do is Python manage.py migrate, and it just it ran all these migration scripts, and we're going to be pretty much using this kind of app that's already pre-installed in Django. Does anybody have any questions about what we're doing right now or where we're going with the Django authentication? Nope. All right. So we will have to do some things in settings, but for right now, let's jump into our URLs in our project URLs folder or file. So with the URLs PY file, what's the one thing we usually have to import as well?
Include.
Yep. So let's include. And now here we're going to path, and we're going to go to accounts, because usually when you're accessing user accounts, it's just going to go to / or accounts / and then we're going to include Django contrib authentication .urls. So this gives us this path accounts, and just doing include Django contrib authentication URLs gives us access to all of these URLs in Django. It's already this right here. This line of code gives us access to all these URLs. Log in, log out, password change done, password reset done, reset with a reset token, and then reset password done. Again, also with all these named routes. Log in, log out, password change done. That's what this gives us.
Does it establish requirements for the password already?
Yes. So we'll get to that when we get into when we get to creating a user. We'll have a predefined, again, Django does a lot of heavy lifting for us. So when we create a form, we don't have to create a custom form from scratch. Django already has a built-in, what is called a user creation form that has all these minimum requirements for the password and everything like that. So that's what that gives us right here, is all of this stuff. But let's run this. Let's start the server and actually create an actual login page. So Python, am I in the right folder? Python manage.py, run server. I just want to see if this works. Localhost 8,000. All right, nothing there. If we do accounts, login, nothing there right yet. All right. So just like normal routes with these accounts and going to login, we actually have to create a template for these actual routes. So normally we would create a project, like a Django project, and have templates in our Django project. But when we're using these specific type of routes that are kind of already built in, we can go ahead and inside on the same level as the manage.py file, create a templates folder. We can actually create a templates folder. Templates on the same level as the manage.py. So at the same level as the manage.py file, create a templates folder. And then within the templates folder, just like how we used to name it, like when we have an app, we have a templates folder followed by another folder, which is the name of the app, followed by all our templates. But in here, since we're dealing with the project and we're specifically dealing with authentication or registering a user and just managing user, inside the templates folder, we create another folder called registration. And inside here is where we're going to have some of our templates, like our login.html template. Did I spell registration right? Yep. So in our registration, or in our login HTML template, we're going to have H2. We're just going to create a simple login form for our user. We're going to have form method equals post, and then simple CSRF underscore token, followed by form.asp. And now we have a button. So, let's do login. And then the type is submit. All right. So there's our login. But now, since we're not dealing with templates within the like a Django app, we actually have to register these specific templates to the Django project. And we do that by going into our settings file. If you scroll down here, we have this little templates variable with an array with object. It has a bunch of information like backend, all the stuff. And we also have this DIRS. And here is where we're going to want to give the specific apps the path to that specific templates folder. So this is literally the path of our actual directory, or the actual directory, to this specific templates folder. Does anybody have any questions about that? So on the same level as the manage.py file, for our register, for our login and log out and our home page and stuff of our app or of our project, we're going to create a templates directory on the same level. Oh, that's got to go inside the registration. Oh, that's already there. Yep. So right here, this is the location of this templates folder on my local machine. At the very bottom of our settings file, we're going to create another variable called login redirect URL. So after we log in, we want to redirect the user to a specific path, to a specific URL. And in this case, we just want to go to the /. We don't want to go to an app or anything like that. All right. Now, save that. Let's see if anything works. Still might not work yet, which is okay. If I go to, nope, still not working. If I do to accounts /login, cool, still not working yet. That's okay, it's expected. So now we want to actually create a home URL. All the way up until now, we've been going to like /accounts / whatever our app name. But if we just want to go to our home page at just like a normal path path, just like right there. So you just go to localhost 8000 / and we want something to render from there. So this is where template views, or I would say this is where like class-based views come into, come into play. So before we actually do this, I'm going to create a, what should I do first? I'm going to create a project, or I'm sorry, an app called accounts. So I'm going to clear it. I'm going to create an app called accounts, Python, manage.py, start app accounts. All right. So I created another app, or I created an app called accounts. The first thing I need to do is register that app into my project and go to accounts. So typically, when we go to a specific URL, we need to create a view for that. So the first thing I want to do is just create a simple view, like a home view or something like that. So I'm going to create a views.home, and then the name equals home. And I need to import that from my accounts. So from accounts, import views. So this is all still within my Django project, not within the accounts app. So then within, where are we at? Within the views of my accounts app, come in here. I'm going to, just like we create a normal view, def home, request, render, request.home, HTML. I'm not passing anything in the home page, but for all intents and purposes, I'm just gonna, we're gonna refactor this, so we're not gonna be using this specific, this view. But I just kind of want to show you kind of what it used to look like. Come in here. So when it goes to / nothing, it's going to go views, home. It's going to come into views. It's going to render this home.html. But whereas we normally would put the views in the, or the template in the accounts, we're going to keep the templates, or we're going to keep the home HTML outside of the Django project. So I'm going to do home.html. There we go. And then also, just like we did yesterday with doing base layouts or base template, or yeah, like a base template, I'm going to go ahead and create another template called base.html. And in my base HTML, I've got my header. I got a block title. I know we had a question yesterday of whether or not you can have multiple different pages or blocks on the same page. You can, and here's an example. So one's called block title, Django auth tutorial, end block, and then another with the block content. And then inside our home page, we're going to extend the base HTML, and then also have the block title, home, end block, and then inside the block content, we have this if user.isAuthenticated, which is a built-in method that comes with Django. It can tell you whether or not the user is authenticated or not. Does kind of anybody have any, what questions do you have about kind of what we're doing right now? And we're still have yet to create a user or anything like that. So let's actually clear it and run the server, see if this works. Oh, because I was at the wrong, there we go. So here's the login page that I created right here. I was at the wrong URL. But we don't have any specific user. So it says, please enter a correct username and password. Note both fields may be case sensitive. So this login form inside the URLs, where's the URLs? Right here, already kind of has all that built in, all that authentic, what is it called? All that, oh God, I'm blanking.
Requirement, you mean?
What's that?
Minimum requirement, you mean?
Yeah, yes, thank you. Yeah, all the minimum requirements for logging in and password and everything like that. So it already, like when I type it in and click login, it automatically goes into the database, checks for any users, checks the passwords, and ensures that there is a user. If there's not, it automatically displays these minimum requirements. So with that, we actually have to have a login user. But so we go to accounts-login, but if we go to accounts.home, so we're at accounts.home, but if we just go to /, it says you are not logged in. So I go to that /, comes here, goes to views.home. So I'm importing from accounts, the views. If I go to accounts/views, it runs this home method, which renders this home HTML, which is located in the templates in the Django project. Right here, it says home. Here's the title, home. You can see where it says home up here in the title. Then within that block content of our base HTML comes down here. There's that block content. It says if user is authenticated, it should say hi, followed by username with a logout link. Else it'll say you are not logged in. Here's like a login page. So if I click here, it'll actually take me to that login page. But as I mentioned before, I'm gonna introduce you to something called base templates or class-based templates. Class-based templates. So here we have just a method, but there are some generic built-in class-based views from Django that can render specific templates. So from here, I'm actually rendering this home HTML, but I'm not passing anything in here. So I'm actually going to, from Django views, generic.base, because I'm doing a base class-based view. I'm going to import a template view that is solely responsible for rendering a template, an HTML template. So what this looks like, instead of having a method like that, this is a class-based template. It's going to be class home. It's going to inherit everything from the template view. And all I need to pass in is the template name that I want to actually render. Render equals home.html. Like that, and that says module counts that views has no attribute home. So if I go back to here, I can actually just import views. I can actually import that class home. And then since it's a class-based view, I can't just do this. I have to actually declare that like, hey, render this as a view. As view and invoke it. Hopefully it works. Now if I just go to /, same thing. So this home template view is literally just to render this home HTML right here. We can actually refactor this a little bit more. I can actually remove that from here and then go back into my URLs, bring that in here. And inside my views, I don't even need this because it's literally just a template view with a template name. So I can actually delete this, delete that. And then instead of here, I can just do template view. And then as view, I can pass in the template name and say home.html. So I'm not even importing anything from the app anymore, the accounts app. So if I refresh it, oh, whoop, name views is not defined. Oh, right here, and delete that. Same thing. So what I just did, I showed you kind of what before how we used to render templates by going into views, creating a basic method, and that renders a specific HTML template. And we're usually passing in some data into that HTML template. But if you're strictly only rendering just like a single HTML and you're not passing in a whole lot of data into it, you can use what is called class-based templates. And this specific template view is strictly to render an HTML template. So I'm literally just saying it's a template view, which is a class. I'm saying render it as a view, and I'm passing in the template name of what I actually want to render, which is the name of this home HTML. So, okay, now we have a home page, we have a login page, but we haven't actually we can't log in to anybody or can't log in yet. So let's go ahead and create a super user. So I'm going to create a super user down here, Python source VNV bin activate, Python manage.py, create super user, enter tom@email.com, 123, 123, yes, cool. All right, so created a super user. Now, if I refresh, I'm at this login, I can say TA preet 123, and it logs in and it redirects me to the home page. And it's doing that because in my settings page, I've got this, the very bottom, login redirect URL goes to a /, which is just, I could actually do like / something else. And if I log in again, so when I logged out just there, let's actually log in again. So it takes me back to this admin panel. I don't like that. So I'm just going to go to the home page. You are not logged in. It's because I just already logged out. So it goes into my home, comes into here. It says if user is authenticated, which I'm not right now. It says else you are not logged in and gives me a link to the login URL. So I can say login. It's a TA preet. If I say 123, watch where it's going to redirect me now. So it says something else. So that's not, and there's no page there. So it throws a page 404 not found. So let's go back to the settings and just render the login to the home page again. So when it re-renders, it's going to come back in here, say user is authenticated, then it's going to say hi, my username, and then this log out. So let's refresh, say 123, log in, and here it goes. It's hi TA preet, and gives me this log out button. But now, when I log out, I'm redirected to the admin dashboard, which I don't want to be. When I log out, I want to be redirected back to this home page, like right here. So in my settings, again, I have this login redirect URL. I can have a log out redirect URL. And here I can also do that, or this can accept named routes. So if I look at my URLs, this is the home HTML that I'm rendering. I can also render it, go into settings and render the home, which is the named route of the HTML for the home page. So if I refresh it, go to login, go TA preet, 1, 2, 3, log in. And when I log out, it should just stay at this page, but re-render this route. Yep, so you are not logged in now. So right here, when the user is authenticated, it said, hi, TA preet. It's a logout. Then when I clicked the logout button, it re-rendered this, and it came into here. It said, if user is authenticated, which I wasn't. There wasn't a user that was authenticated. It says, you are not logged in, and gave me a little login page. What questions do you have about what just happened? Most of this is pretty much, a lot of it's built in with like the authentication system. All right. But now, how do we actually sign up? Because here in this, the Django authentication URLs, there's no thing that says like, hey, sign up or anything like that. So with that, I created this accounts app right here. And everything, I'm going to use this accounts app to actually sign up new users. So for here, we used, for this path accounts, we used all these built-in Django URLs here. But we also want to use the accounts app as well. So I can say path accounts. I can use this again, include accounts, which is the name of the app, .urls. And then similar to how we did before, we go into our app accounts and create a urls.py file. And then in here we do from, Django URLs import path, from period import views, because this is where we want to actually render our views. Then URL patterns equals an array, we say path, and usually we just go do /, whenever we go to account //, we usually do, like in the past, this is where we usually list all of our posts or list all of our events. But now when we come into here, goes to accounts, we want to go to a sign up page. So in our app accounts file, we want to go to sign up. And then in here, we want to create a views.signup, and then name equals sign up. So you call it, let's actually sign up user. So in our views, now here, where we don't have anything yet, we initially created something here and then we took it out of it and just put everything into here. So now in our views, we want to create a def sign up user, which takes in a request. Then just like before, when we use a form to create stuff, we can do if request dot method equals post, do something, create a form and then some like user form, or we'd have to create a form from scratch. But within Django, Django has something called, they already have like predefined forms that are used a lot. So like Django takes a lot of heavy lifting off of our shoulders. There's something called a user creation form that we have. So something that's already built in. So it says from Django contrib auth, so authentication forms, import user creation form. So this is already a form that's already has all the fields, that the minimum fields required to create a new user. It has all the minimum requirements, like all the I can't even think of it. Pretty much everything you need to actually create a user form. So we'll actually see what that looks like. So creates a user creation form, request.post. So actually, let's actually just first look at what this user creation form looks like before we actually go into that part. So just like before, we return render, renders the request. And then here we actually have to create a new, some kind of a new form called sign up. So in our registration, sign up.html. So we're going to have to create a new sign up HTML. We're going to render the form. So in our project templates, in our registration, we're going to create a new template called sign up HTML. And with that, we can extend the base. We can create a block title called sign up right here. That's extended from the base. And then we actually have to create in our block content, then in block, and block. We can create H2, sign up, and then create a form. Method equals post. And then we need the CSRF token. And since we're using that user creation form, we should do form.as_p, and then button submit, type equals submit. It's actually sign up. Let's see what this looks like. So in our views, comes in here. So if you go to accounts/sign up, comes into views, sign up user method, comes into here, sign up user method, uses this built-in user creation form from Django, and registers or renders this specific template from the registration directory inside of our Django project. So it says no module found, accounts.urls. Where's that located at? Accounts.urls. Why is that not working?
Issue here, Tom, but you had where you were doing the Python, you had end blog instead of end block.
Oh, let's see.
Line 12.
Thank you. Oh. But here it says no account named accounts URLs. Why isn't that it? See if this works. Log in. Cool. So everything's working right. But now if I go to log in, if I go to sign up, here we go. This is what a user creation form already has filled out for us. So this field is required, which is the username, required 150 characters or fewer, letters, digits, all this stuff. So it already has all the minimum requirements. So if I say another name, code platoon. Code platoon. Let's do A, B, C. Oh, it says must be contain. So A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. A, B, C. And then A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. Uh-oh, what just happened? Can't be, this password is too common. It looks like that's what it says. So I can just do like ABC.
If I don't know if you want to, it's going to make you type some really strict passwords in. But
Yeah.
if you want to be able to skip over that for right now, you can go into settings.py and remove the authentication. There's like common validators or something for password fields in there. You can remove that and it'll let you use like a really basic password if you remove them for now.
I'm just going to adhere to their guidelines. So
Yeah,
sign up.
login type password.
Let's do
You
another
can't keys
another
within
user.
Pieces of each other.
So it says, so I'm like signing up users, but nothing's actually happening. Let's see what's going on. Sign up user. And if I go to login, or not login, /, if I log in, I want to see if this another user works. So I can say, oh, did not work. So let's see what happened. Did I already have it in my sign up page? Sign up, submit. Accounts login. So if here it is. Yep, sorry. So I didn't actually finish my view. So I'm not actually doing anything right now with it. So I just kind of wanted to show you what the sign up for form looks like. So just like normal when we're actually submitting like a new user, we can say if request.method equals post form
double equal.
Thank you. User creation form request dot post, and then if the form dot is valid, which is built in, we can form dot save, and then we can return redirect, which we haven't imported yet, and we want to just return to that login page. So I'm going to actually redirect else form equals user creation form. And that's pretty much it. Let's see if this works now. So I can say code platoon strict password, sign up, and then it just routed me to the login page. So I signed up, come here, you are not logged in. If I do code platoon and type in my strict password, said hi code platoon, I can log out. That's actually in our home page. Where is it? I'm going to say href. That's in our login. I'm going to add a link into our login page to go to the URL of sign up. So if it comes over here, sign up, it's going to do the sign up user. If I refresh right here, so I can log in. But if I haven't logged in yet, I'm a new user, I can go to the sign up page and do everything like sign up another user. But in these views, this is how we're normally write our views. However, we can continue using class-based views that are already built in to Django that are very common for actually rendering templates and everything like that. So before we had before when we were just creating a CRUD app, so for like events, the events challenge, we'd actually have a list of events, and then we'd have like a detail events. We'd have a create event form or something like that. And so with these class-based events or class-based views, there's already built-in classes that will automatically render, whether it's a form, whether it's a list of some kind of data. So with that, instead of having to have all this data right here, I can actually convert this to a class-based view. And I've up here, I've uploaded that. So there's a few things we need to import is from Django URLs. I'm going to import something called reverse lazy, just redirects essentially from Django .views, import generic, and then I think that's pretty much it right now. So in these views, we're going to use a generic class-based view that there's like 4 or 5 of them that are very common. It's like create, create view, list view, and like edit view. There's a few more if you want to see what they are. Where are they here? So there's these base views. We just use this template view in the very beginning. And then there's these editing views, which we can create a form, create view, update view, delete view. So we're going to be using the create view because we want to be creating a new user. So instead of using the sign up user, I'm going to use a class-based view using this create view class. So I can say class, I'm going to call it a sign up generic dot create view. And this only takes in 3 things. A form class is like what form do we want to use? It's either a form that we created from scratch, like how we used to do it, or this user creation form. That's what we want. And after we log in, we can say after there's a successful login, so the success URL, say reverse lazy, reroute you, essentially redirect you to the login page. And then the template that we want to use for this is this registration sign up page. Oh, counts view has no user sign up. All right. So I redid our views. So now if I can go into here, into our actual URLs, I can say, instead of sign up user, I can say sign up. Is it sign up, the name of the class? Yep, sign up. But since it's a class-based view, we actually have to tell it, hey, render this as a view. And let's see if everything still works. So I'm refreshing. I'm going to go to sign up. I'm going to add some additional code just in our sign up page to reroute you to the login. So if I refresh, I can go to login, go to sign up. Everything is still rendering correctly. Tom Preet, TAP, AMP, sign up. Now I can log in. What was it? Tom Preet. Hi, Tom Preet. Log in, sign up. So what I just did, when I close all this stuff. So in our project, Django project URLs, I brought in all the built-in URLs for account authentication for logging in a user, logging out a user. That's what all this is. I created a base template in our Django project under this templates folder in our project on the same level as manage. I imported those templates in our settings under this DIRS. So I imported these templates. So I've got this base, and then, where is it? And then when I go to just, whatever the website's called, /, I'm rendering this template view, which is only going to render a template. I'm importing the template view from generic.base, and the template name I'm rendering is the home HTML file, which is here. That has some logic conditions, like if the user is authenticated, that's a built-in method in Django. I want to display hi user. Otherwise, it's say you're not logged in, and a link to the login page. And then the login page in registration. So right here, this is already kind of built for us as far as like the login form for us. And then in order to sign up, we created a new app because the built-in Django authentication URLs doesn't have any place we need. It doesn't have a route for us to sign up. So we still want to use the accounts keyword or the accounts route. So we created an app called Accounts. And so we have accounts. We're including all the URLs in the accounts app. So in the accounts app, we wanted to create a sign up route. And what we want to actually display when we sign up, the form we want to. If we go into our views, we use our built-in user creation form that we're importing from authentication forms in Django. And we're using a class-based view instead of a just normal method view. These do the same thing. However, one's about half amount as much as code. So either or work, but I just kind of expose you to class-based views. And the form class we're using is the user creation form. After there's a successful login or successful sign up, we reroute to the login page, and the template we're using is the sign up HTML form.
Hey, Tom, I have a quick question.
Yep. Yeah. Can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yep, now I can.
So when you're using that class-based view, it's kind of forcing, so it's like putting all those minimum requirements and stuff on the page. And because it's abstracting those away from you, how do you style those or like get access to those kinds of things since they're not in your template?
You can, in the user creation form, where the hell is it? You can you can extend this. You can inherit, like create a new class, new form, inherit probably all user creation form, and edit the fields that way. So there's in the documentation, you'd say like how to edit fields in form Django. There's explicit ways of how you can edit the fields and everything like that. And there's also something called widgets you can change.
So to style that at all, you've got to extend it and then modify it.
Oh, to a style. Oh, like they individual.
Yeah, like so. For example,
Like
each of
this
those
stuff?
little bullets you didn't have those bullets in your template. What if I wanted to center those?
You'd have to add some attributes via like creating a new, like a custom form from that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just so you know, there's a neat little thing you can do. If you create, you know how Django looks in your templates folder? There's a file behind the scenes. There's a file finder. Fighter. Can't say words. There's a file finder, and it will. Yeah. So basically, what you have right here, where it says templates, and you created that subfolder registration inside of your templates app folder. Now you can, if you create the name of the same file that Django's looking for, which is registration login, you're overwriting Django's default template page and you're creating your own. So you can do all your styling of elements in here, or you can apply class names, or you can actually iterate over that form that I was trying to draw on Tom's screen. I can't draw. You can iterate over that form and its fields individually. Actually, I think Julian shared a link where it had a snippet where they were iterating over like the errors of the form fields, and you
Yeah,
can apply your own.
I went from using their canned form there to using the components of the form so I can put them where I wanted. Yeah, on the to do app is where I did that. Yeah, the code snippet was where if you put in an invalid form, like you got to put in a wrong date, it's not a valid date. It will use Bootstrap's alert pop-up and put it where I wanted it rather than moving the form all around and stuff like that. But yeah, you can iterate through all that stuff, break it apart.
Yeah, so basically I'm saying there's always a point where you can inject customizations to whatever you want to do. So if you need to inject some code in a template, you can do that. It's
So in short, it's a major hassle.
it's
Not that bad.
I find it
it's not that bad.
because I've just been using class-based views. The function-based views, I have a hard time with those. The class-based views, I have far less code, and my templates work really well. Yeah, it's just a lot easier. I don't know why I don't see that everywhere. I don't know what I gain. Like, is there something that's gained by using function-based views that you don't have with class-based views? I don't know that there is, but I'm just starting out, so.
Yeah. So here are all the class-based views so just like in previous challenges, we'd had like list everything out, like list all the posts, list all the tasks, list all the events. They've got a list view. And for the detail page of that individual item, we have a detail view. We have a form view, which is like a generic, and then create view, update view, delete view. And there's like a bunch of stuff.